So this past week was a big week for Nintendo fans because there was a lot of stuff going on. Of course, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has officially released. I'm sure most of you guys are playing the game. I wasn't going to review the game. I made a video talking about why I wasn't going to review the game, in which, I don't know, I kind of reviewed the game, I guess, a bit, but not really. Go check out that video if you haven't yet. But of course, we also had the Nintendo financial report. I didn't really talk too much about that because I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, but more importantly, I wasn't really surprised by anything with that. Yes, game sales looked impressive, and yes, you know, they sold Nintendo Switch systems, but I said 6 months ago that things were starting to slow down quite substantially for the Nintendo Switch, and everyone got mad at me. Other content creators were making videos about how I don't know what I'm talking about, and then we come to find out during the latest financial report that, hey, RGT was right, and people that are subscribed to RGT knew that I was right because I'm not that stupid. But Nintendo themselves said that sales were disappointing. They were down about 15 to 20% over what they anticipated it to be, which is exactly what I said in my older videos. But I don't know, I guess coming from the horse's mouth is a little bit better for people and a better pill to swallow than it would be coming out of RGT's mouth, because I'm not a horse or a Nintendo YouTuber. But we have to talk about something today from this financial report that kind of flew under my radar. And I sit here and I question the mentality of this statement. I question a lot of it because it honestly gives me a headache. Thinking about things like this gives me a headache because it seems like Nintendo is just, I don't know. Now, this is coming to us from Nintendo Soup. Essentially, what they're doing is taking the Q&A section of the financial report with the shareholders, asking President Furukawa questions. They asked, of course, about new hardware, especially when you're hearing about hardware sales declining for the mainline hardware that Nintendo has. You got to remember, there isn't a two-pillar system anymore where if consoles are doing good and handhelds are doing bad, you could kind of balance it out, or vice versa. Now it's all into one thing. So here's what President Furukawa had to say about this. The growth rate of our annual active player base has begun to level off compared to what it was 3 to 4 years ago. We believe our next step is to focus on keeping high user activity while also attracting new users. The life cycle of a console is often based on the timing of major game releases, and therefore affects our continued commitment to software production. Moreover, we find it essential to continue providing new opportunities for customers to engage with the Nintendo Switch beyond just the launch of new games, whatever that means. We don't believe that there are a secure number of annual active users negates the need for a next-gen console release. While we're not at a stage to discuss specifics about a potential next-gen console, we are continually considering innovative ideas that could offer new and unique experiences. We're developing a variety of things with that future in mind. He then goes on to say, in the event of a future hardware launch, the annual active user numbers will be heavily impacted by the number of hardware units sold. Knowing this, it's important to maintain a substantial customer base that can enjoy Nintendo dedicated gaming systems and ensure that we have a smooth transition to the next generation console. Nevertheless, at this point, our foremost priority is to maintain and expand the Nintendo Switch, now in its 7th year, to sustain our business momentum. So, now there's a lot of things to take away from that. There's a lot of things to take away from that. I'm going to save the one that gives me a headache for the last thing, but I don't understand why Nintendo is acting a bit surprised, like, oh, the Switch is slowing down. I didn't see that coming. It's like everyone saw that coming. You reach a market capacity. Okay, there's only so many people in the world that are going to be interested in picking up your system. And when your system has been on, out there for entering now its 7th year, you feel like a vast majority of people have already picked up the system. Let's be honest about something here. Nintendo fell into a perfect situation with the Switch after the Wii U, because the Wii U, I mean, it just kind of sucked. It didn't have the games. You come out with a brand new Zelda game at the launch of the Nintendo Switch. Then you have a pandemic where nobody can do anything. So people are buying a Nintendo Switch and buying this game called Animal Crossing, which was not a good Animal Crossing game. I think the original GameCube game is leagues better than this game. But you make this Animal Crossing game that happens to come out during the start of this pandemic. So people are at home playing this and living in these worlds and stuff like that. It was a perfect storm for this system. A perfect storm for the system, kind of like, follow me on this, kind of like the situation with the Wii. The Wii just went off onto this weird path, this strange path that Nintendo took that was completely different than the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. But it worked because it got in a more casual audience into their user base, and people who necessarily weren't that interested in video games now became interested in the world of video games, and more importantly, in the world of Nintendo. So you access this new user base very similar to what you did with Animal Crossing New Horizons by launching that on the Nintendo Switch. Here's the problem though. Nintendo didn't know when to turn things off with the Wii and start focusing on the Wii U. Everyone can admit that the Wii U was completely rushed. Why? Because Wii sales started to fall sharply. People weren't buying software, people weren't buying hardware. You still had the handheld side doing okay-ish, I guess. Obviously, the transition to the DS to the 3DS wasn't completely smooth either. So you had these two generations of different systems, the handhelds and the home consoles, from the Wii to the Wii U, from the DS to the 3DS, where it was very rocky for Nintendo, and it's almost like they didn't know when to pull the trigger on the new hardware. And you're starting to see some parallels with that. Do I think it's as drastic? No, but with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom coming out now, this is like the swan song for the Switch. I don't think Nintendo can make anything better on this system with the hardware that it has than Tears of the Kingdom. Like, it's such a phenomenal game and such a fun game that it feels like the ending. It feels like, you know, a stamp on this system. Skyward Sword on the Wii was similar. Skyward Sword on the Wii came out a year later. The Nintendo Wii U came out, and that was the end of the Wii. Like, you got some other things, you know, like Xenoblade Chronicles, but Nintendo didn't even want to bring that over, and Nintendo just did, you know, smaller games on that. And it definitely feels like that's what's happening with the Switch, but I don't understand why you're surprised that Switch sales are starting to decline when, you know, there's other options on the marketplace for handheld gaming devices. The landscape is completely different than it was, you know, 6 years ago, plus when you launched this system. But that's not the thing that gives me a headache. No, that's not the thing that bothers me the most. Let's go back to this comment here. We don't believe that a secure number of annual active users negates the need for a next-gen console release. While we're not at a stage to discuss specifics about a potential next-gen console, we're continually considering innovative ideas that could offer new and unique experiences. Why? 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 Nobody wants that. Nobody wants a new, and you know what? This is new and unique, okay? That's as unique as we need to get. You know what you do? You make that more powerful. That's all you do. You figured it out. You've bridged the gap between the handheld and the home console market. You went with that innovation and it worked out for you. What happened the last time you went the weird innovation route from the Wii to the Wii U? Didn't really work out. It had a stupid name, had poor advertising, and it didn't have a solid launch lineup of games because you rushed it out into the marketplace. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to video games, when it comes to video game hardware. I get it. Nintendo likes to march to the beat of their own drum, and that's fine. But what happens with things like that is you're going to have really high highs and really low lows, like things from like the Wii to the Wii U, because some ideas are going to hit. Some ideas are going to be a huge success, and some ideas are going to be able to bridge, you know, gamers and non-gamers together. At least at that time, you didn't really have cell phone gaming that was popping off or anything like that. Video games were still kind of under the radar as sort of an underground thing. Now, of course, it's the most mainstream thing in the world, really. It's the largest industry as far as entertainment is concerned, trumping the music and the movie and Hollywood industry. So it's not the same sort of world when the Wii launched that it is today, but the Wii was a success because it did something different and unique. The Wii U was a failure because it did something different and tried to do something unique. The Switch was a success because of the hybrid nature, by eliminating the handheld and the home console markets and combining them into one, plus a perfect storm of really good hardware. You don't always need to reinvent the wheel. You know, if something is working, you should stick with what's working, and then when something stops working, that's when you kind of pivot. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch is showing its age. I don't think anyone is saying that, you know, that, oh, it still has plenty of life left in it. I think a lot of us just want, you know, something stronger, something that plays the games at a higher resolution, at a higher frame rate, and gives developers more power to be able to utilize this system. I don't want to hear you're thinking of new and innovative ways, because the innovation, I feel like we've seen most of it. I mean, there's some weird things you could do, like Labo was an interesting experiment, you know, charging people exorbitant amounts of money for cardboard and stuff like that. But as far as a main focus point, it seems like people just want to play video games, and they want to play quality video games, and they want to play quality video games on the device of their own choice. There's a lot of people that love Nintendo and will always support any idea that Nintendo does, but that's not the people that you need to be worried about. You need to be worried more so about the mass market. The mass market has adopted the Nintendo Switch idea, and they seem to love it. Yes, things like the Steam Deck and the Asus ROG Ally are out there now that do things at a higher performance level, but they don't have the Nintendo branding. They don't have the first-party Nintendo games, at least legally on there, that you can offer on your Nintendo Switch experience. I don't want you to do something new. I don't want you to do something innovative. Beef up this system. You know, make a little innovation with the Joy-Con so they don't drift. You know, there's a good idea that you could do, but stop it. Stop reinventing the wheel. Not everything has to be so dramatically different from its predecessor. Sometimes more power is the better option. I know what you're saying. Well, they kind of did that with the Wii U. No, they didn't. They butchered the Wii U. The marketing was terrible. Was it a tablet? Was it a new console? Is this something for your Wii? Why does it have the same name as the Wii system? A large majority of the Wii market didn't understand the Wii U, and Nintendo never really did a good job to do it. And even, you know, people within the industry didn't know what it was. The Switch is an easy concept. A successor to the Switch is an easy thing to wrap your head around. It's a beefier system. It looks a little different. It plays games, and it plays them better than its predecessor. Please stick on this path. Please do this, because if you don't, like, oh God, no, it's gonna get wild out there, folks. Let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below, though. Am I overreacting, or have you finally seen the light that RGT knows what the hell he's talking about, and you should listen to him? Like, yes, sometimes I'm wrong, but a lot of the times I'm right, and people never want to give me my flowers. Give me my flowers when I'm alive, because I might choose death. It's an old wrestling shirt. If you know the wrestler whose shirt it is, let me know in the comments section down below. I'm not really a fan of his new stuff. Like, he should be, like, not wrestling. I think he has brain damage and stuff like that, but you know, whatever. Who am I to judge another man? And as always, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.